When I was in high school, I felt like I had so much to say, but nobody was listening. A lot of movie stars and politicians got their start in speech and debate, because on the debate side of things, you have all kinds of competitions where you have to make your point of view clear and convincing. And on the speech side of things, you have acting competitions. Through dramatic interpretation, you get the opportunity to play all the roles in a scene yourself. So that means you're playing Romeo and Juliet. So just grab a couple friends. It only takes like 3 people minimum to start a team. And join Speech and Debate. It's the only club designed for you to find and strengthen your voice.
BroadwayCon, it's time to get very excited. Please welcome to the stage the one and only Darren Chris.
Hello. Hey guys. Good morning. Hey guys, thanks for being here. I'm Darren. That was a clip for a thing that we shot for this film that we're about to talk about today. I have my own kind of personal history with this film. Before it was made into this film, it was a very successful play, which is crazy because I was just talking with the playwright Stephen, and that was almost 12 years ago when it started, and it's taken that long for it to resurface in film format. And I've been a fan for so long. They did it in college. I've kept tabs on it. I tried to audition for it, and all kinds of places. I never actually got that part. So now they, to sort of, as a consolation prize, let me moderate the film's discussion. So let me introduce all the key players of the film. First we have my friend Tom Rice, the producer of The Way, Way Back, Begin Again, and The Hollers. Tom, come out here. We have Broadway's own, our screenwriter Stephen Karam, who wrote the play, and just won a Tony for The Humans, if you caught that. I don't know where everyone's sitting. Why don't you sit? Oh, that's my chair over there. We have all these green cards. We have from The Humans and The Good Wife, the wonderful Sarah Steele. And some of you might know him. He made his Broadway debut the same year and the same time he shot this, from Spring Awakening, if you've heard of that. Mr. Austin P. McKenzie. Swoon. And from The Way, Way Back and cult TV favorites, The Killing and The Family, Liam James. It's a solid crew. So, hey y'all. The cards say I mentioned my small part of the film and how excited I am to be here. And then I'm going to set up the trailer, and then we're going to talk to these guys and I'm going to shut up. But yeah, so I had a very tiny part where Tom asked me to basically play myself and talk about speech and debate. And in the context of the scene, I think Liam's character is watching it and trying to figure out what speech and debate is and what it can do for him in his sort of, I guess, troubled life in high school. So let's just go ahead and play the trailer and then we can talk about the movie.
Disgusted to learn that this school plans to perform Once Upon a Mattress. So, this is what I'm gonna do about it. I'm gonna use my free speech, stamp out the stand in the porn plays, or you're gonna turn to stone.
FYI, Mr. Healy, I'll be performing all songs as per the author's original intent.
Oh, here we go.
Now you're not throwing away my shot. We're gonna rise up, rise up. My drama teacher has agreed to purify the plot of Once Upon a Mattress.
Mr. Healy thinks an unwed mother is too racy for us.
My private blog. You should check it out.
It's time for North Salem to have engagement lines.
Nope for me.
Homophobia is some 1985.
No.
For the record, the district fully supports gays, lesbians, and
Latinos.
we can't write about anything actually affecting us.
Choose another topic.
Religion. See?
When I was in high school, I felt like nobody was listening. Join Speech and Debate to find your voice.
I'm an actress. Speech and debate sounds like homework.
Just read the part that says DI on the homepage.
Yes?
No, there's no way you can get me to do this.
So, you want to know about speech and debate?
I can always say whatever we want. Why don't we do it in a way that they won't forget?
Are you insane?
I'm an alien in this town. then don't.
I'm a ladies' man.
Oh, Solomon! Solomon! Stop it!
What is wrong with you? We have the Holy Spirit on our side. Who's on yours?
A gay guy and an overachiever. Life is a stage.
What?
Relax, I used a fake name.
Dewada Obama.
All right. Very cool. So just to start things right off, Stephen, I was going to ask. We were talking backstage about how this is a 12-year-old thing for you at this point. Just for the audience that may not be familiar with the play or the sort of genesis of all this, why don't you talk a little bit how this play kind of started in the first place? This was your first play. Obviously, you're a Tony Award-winning playwright now, but you know, 12 years ago, scrappy young writer. Where did this idea come from, and what was the sort of beginnings of the play?
Yeah, it was 12 years ago. It's hard to believe, actually, because I've known Sarah now for over a decade, but I was interested in, I became really obsessed with a lot of political scandals involving Republican conservatives.
We don't have any more of those.
We don't have that anymore.
They don't make them like they used to.
But it was a time where there was a lot of talk about the sanctity of marriage, and I was interested in one particular sex scandal that seemed to embody about 7 or 8 of them, in which a mayor of Spokane, Washington, would spend a lot of his career championing the sanctity of marriage, trying to pass legislation ensuring that gays and lesbians couldn't be daycare workers, was revealed to be having a very illicit relationship himself with a man, and it turned out with several teenage boys. So, fast forward, this political idea and this idea to explore, you know, what is it that makes people in power, rather than wanting to, or authority figures, rather than giving voice to the voiceless, what is that thing that makes people sometimes try to weaken people who already have or are in a weak position? Again, this feels very relevant to the times we're living in now. But I wanted to explore it in a very comic manner, because the tragic elements of these political scandals is quite obvious. So I was interested in exploring doing it via something that felt like I would have an opportunity to also have a lot of fun, and the world of high school in some ways is a great microcosm to explore these bigger ideas in a very silly way.
And were you yourself, and this is actually open up to everybody here, were you actually in speech and debate when you were in high school? This was 12 years ago when you were in high school, I guess. You were 6 when you wrote this play?
Yes, I most certainly was for 4 years, yeah. Yeah, it was a huge part of my, you know, I didn't quite fit in any particular specific way. I was a gay teenager, but I was into drama, but I wasn't getting any really good parts because I wasn't a great actor. So I was doing like assistant sound design, and in speech and debate, I found that I could be impossibly weird, and it was accepted for all those eccentricities. So, did you guys do speech and debate?
No. Just curious, if people in the audience, speech and debate, forensics, all that stuff, there seems to be this interesting crossover between theater and speech and debate, which is, I think, kind of explored in the film. Because speech and debate for me was, you know, actual political discourse, which it does include, but it also has sort of a dramatic element and performance element. So cut to 12 years later, you know, this play has run all over the place, and it's done quite well in a lot of colleges. And had you always thought of this as being a film eventually? In the past 12 years, technology has changed, the very nature of how teenagers talk to each other. Texting is more predominant now. There's all these changes that have happened. Did you always want this to be a film with changes? I mean, how did you meet Tom? And Tom, at what point did you guys say, all right, this needs to be a film now?
This is on. Yeah. So, his agent sent me the script, and I've never laughed so hard in my life. And so I called.
That's bad, huh?
What's that?
Sorry, I was saying, was that bad?
No. And so we called his agent, and our director Dan Harris, who couldn't be here today for a family obligation, had been kind of developing this with Stephen, and they had, before I read it, they had been working for about 5 years trying to navigate, you know, how do you open up the play, which has 3 characters, into more of a cinematic universe and introduce the parents and the adult characters, and how do you, you know, what the, you know, the play can say so much more in a certain different way than what a film, you know, you kind of have to kind of funnel down kind of what you're going to keep, what you're going to lose, and how do you have something that is an homage and a different version of that, but that is still a separate and own version. And so I read the script, and they had done such a great job expanding this character of just the school and the town, in addition to just these 3 students in the school. And so we just said within a week, you know, this is it. And it very quickly, even though it wasn't my passion project from the beginning at all, I was the last one to read the script of the group, but it suddenly became like a passion project for me too, and just a testament to the characters in the.
Now, speaking of the characters and the kids, I'll parlay this to our actors here. And again, I'm assuming that the folks here have not seen the play or aren't familiar with the film, so I'll let some of the actors talk about their characters and kind of what they do in the film to get you guys excited about what this movie's actually about, other than political scandal and speech and debate. Now, Sarah, you played this role before, 12 years ago. You haven't aged a day. 15, 20 years ago. Sorry,
We didn't actually do the play 12 years ago.
It was 10 years ago.
That's true. It was 10
and it was
years
off
ago.
Broadway. I knew the facts. So you did 10 years ago. It was off Roundabout, right? I was off Broadway. And you haven't aged a day, which is like, you know, fuck you. That's amazing. So, you know, here we are 10 years later, and you're back with Stephen doing this play. Was that weird? Well, first of all, talk to everybody about who you're playing, who she is, what her deal is, and then I'd like to know personally how it was like getting back in that saddle again.
Yeah, I mean, well, Dawada is kind of a theater junkie. I imagine we have some people who know something about that here at BroadwayCon, and she is really, I think she really is talented, but she just hasn't been, you know, getting the kind of parts in high school that that she thinks are worthy of her, and she sort of goes out on her own and makes YouTube videos and sort of tries to just feed that creativity herself, and sort of doesn't have a lot of friends and doesn't really fit in, and then gets these guys to create this speech and debate team with her, and kind of finds a community through that.
Aww.
Yeah.
That is what happens. I'm not pandering. Austin, my man. Did anybody see Austin in Spring Awakening? Did you see? I think woo means yes. Austin, you're fantastic in that, and I was very excited when I heard that you were in this. Was this, forgive my lack of this answer, was this the first like feature film?
Yes, yeah, this was the first camera thing
I've
done, yeah.
So how was that? I mean, like, you know, you're a Broadway vet now, and you did, you know, you did that HO week thing, and now in front of a camera doing what was a play. Before you answer that question, I would say let's talk about your character as well, and let these guys know what you do, and then I want to hear about your process as well.
Yeah, I was actually, last night I was trying to remember the last name of my character. I don't even think I know I can't remember. I don't think he ever had a last name. But his first name is Howie, and he moves to this town, and he doesn't know anyone, and he's openly gay, and he feels like an alien. I think that's one of the lines he says, he feels like an alien. And he's kind of one of those people that thinks that everyone else is sort of weird and not connected to him, but also he feels very disconnected from everyone else. And
for much of his arc in the film, I think he goes through it trying to convince Dewada and Liam here that Solomon that they're the weird ones and that he is the more normal one. And I think throughout the movie you see that he feels like the weird one, and that's kind of how he earns these two best friends in the film. I was doing Spring Awakening in LA at the time, because we were doing some runs there, and then after that, that's when it moved to Broadway in, I think I got there around August, and right before that was when I was filming Speech and Debate, and I remember, I remember the choreographer of Spring Awakening, Spencer Liff, he said he had this movie he was going to choreograph, and that he saw a part for me, and he connected with me with the producer and the director, and I read the script, and I remember just reading it and seeing how funny it was and how much heart it had, and I remember finishing it, and I think I was backstage getting ready to go on for Spring Awakening in LA, and I remember thinking, I'm gonna get this part, I want it so bad. And I went in and I auditioned, and it was just the director, Dan, and Tom. And I walked out of the audition thinking, well, I didn't get that one, for sure. I do not think I'm right for this at all. And at the point, I think I was living in my car at the point, actually, in LA, kind of just like, what am I gonna do with my life? What am I doing? And as I got to the elevator, Tom came out of the audition room and said, hey, do you want the part? And I was like, yes, I do. Yes, please. And I remember I was very, very poor at the time, and I remember walking out of the audition building and thinking, you know what? I'm gonna buy myself a sandwich from Starbucks, because I just got a movie and I can afford sandwiches at Starbucks.
That's a little too fancy, man. Baby steps.
You know what Austin didn't know at the time was that Skylar, who's in the movie too, and I went to see opening night of Spring Awakening at the Wallace. And at intermission, we were both, because we had been auditioning for this character for almost 2 months, and we had seen everybody. We had seen everybody that had been on any TV show and any movie that was remotely right for this part, and we couldn't find what it was. And Skylar and I at intermission were talking about, this is the guy. Like, this is the guy. And I was like, but he's never been in a movie. Like, we can't do that. We can't. But this is the guy. And so we knew at intermission, like 4 days before he came in for the audition, and we were just like crossing fingers, like, oh, please let him be good, like right in front of a camera. And he killed it. Like, he just, for something that nobody else could have done in the whole 2 months leading up to this process, the role was his.
Did you just like wait after his audition, like, okay, give me 10 seconds, then I'll run out? Or did you like
That's
wait?
so intimidating.
I know.
I didn't know that happened. I remember now, I met you guys at after the opening night of Spring Awakening, and he said, hey, I met y'all after the show, and I was like, oh, I don't remember, I'm so sorry. And,
Meanwhile, Sarah and Liam was like, I auditioned like 6 times, and I had all these callbacks. So, Liam, so you're no stranger to the camera. You've had a really fantastic resume of work. Did this kind of pop out at you, and you're like, I have to do this, like Austin, or you're like, eh?
No, yeah. I've actually worked with Tom before on The Way Back, which
great movie.
Thank you guys so much. And funny story though, if we're talking about it, we were just talking about it backstage, weren't we, Tom? About the two weeks that I waited to hear back about. Not that it was ever. I would have waited 3 years to hear back about that role, but. I definitely, we were just good friends, and I read the script, and I was like, yeah, I can relate to all of this. It's an amazing script. Who wouldn't want to do this? And probably the most incredible thing for me, I didn't know it at the time, was that by doing this movie that was a crossover from a play, I got to meet all of these amazing people here, who I think of as such close friends today, and they both went on to do Broadway plays, and I was so jealous and inspired and motivated to.
Did they get you tickets?
Yes, yeah, we got. Yeah, they did, and we got. I was working on a show, luckily in New York, and I got to. That was my saving grace from the long work schedule. Is I would get to go see a show, and it would recharge me, and I'm sure it charges a lot of people here in the audience. But so yeah, it was amazing. And
let's hear a little bit about Solomon. So we've heard about Dewada, we've heard about Howie.
Yeah.
Who's the third musketeer?
So yeah, so Solomon is very different, but in a lot of ways I think the same as everybody here. He's not from out of town. He hasn't been trying to get involved in that kind of personable one-on-one talking through theater or anything like that. So he kind of is an oddball, even though he's gone there his whole life. He's never really found his real place, and he's kind of just reverted to more writing for the school newspaper and just kind of just getting his own thoughts out there. And he really wants to be heard. He's not really being heard at home ever, and so that's his channel. Is his where he gets to like let all of his thoughts out. And but things aren't going so well there. And so, by a chance of fate, he meets Howie and Dewada, and they form the speech and debate club at school. And yeah, the rest is history.
So you guys are all talking about how, other than Sarah, I guess you guys weren't as familiar with, reading the script would have been the first time you were. What was the thing that jumped out at you? What's the thing that you relate to the most with these characters? You read this and you go, oh my God, I have to do this because this part of me is really relates to this person, or you guys are all kind of speaking in terms of these guys all being outcasts and sort of struggling with that natural, obstacle of being in high school as a young person. Just talk about how you personally actually relate to these characters in the story, these people. And Stephen, I'd love to hear from you as well for each of these characters. What parts of you are in these characters? Open floor.
I'll go first and make it really quick. I mean, I definitely am very much, I think there are aspects of all three of these characters in me, including Dewada. So that's my truth.
I feel like when I read the script, what jumped out at me the most was actually Dewada, because she was so fun. She was such a strong character and so funny, and that's the stuff I laughed at. I didn't even laugh at the character I wanted to play stuff. What attracted me to the movie was playing a character that could, we all three of us sort of lead the film, I guess you could say, but I think what attracted me to the script was playing a character that really supported that comedy and that character and lifted that character up. And my character isn't, I don't know, I guess when I watch the film, he's not as like goofy and as funny as maybe you'd think in a comedy. And I think that I like being that part of the film that can then make her stuff way more powerful and much more funny. I think that's important for the film. I honestly feel like I remember seeing the film and I was in a screening and everyone was just laughing. I was laughing my ass off at her stuff. And I don't know, I just liked being a part of that, if that makes sense.
I just to piggyback off of that, I feel like what attracted me initially so much to the play and to the film is a similar thing to that of when you're a female, often you are playing the sort of straight sidekick to the funny male in movies. And it's just it's so delicious to be able to actually reverse that and have the woman be the like goofy crazy one and the men are kind of like, who's this, so that was super fun for me. And yeah,
she gets all the applause breaks too.
I bet.
No, she does. There's 5 applause breaks in the movie. When we did this in New York, and then we did a screening in New York, and there was one class from professional performing arts school that we invited in to kind of fill out the thing, and they stopped and clapped as if it was a live show 5 times, and then they mobbed her at the end of the show, calling her by her character's name.
That's when you know you've made it. When when your identity is
pretty fantastic in this movie.
I also want to add, I remember there was this one moment when we were, I think it was before we were filming and the three of us were getting to know each other, and I remember, or maybe it was a scene we were working on or something like that, and I remember Sarah saying something like, I can't just make her funny, and I can't make the audience hate her. I have to make the audience want to be on her side, even though she's a total misfit. I'm paraphrasing here, but I feel like that's so true. And I know you kind of asked about our characters, but I'm just talking about her.
Well, no, that's what's amazing about, if I can, the joy for me of Sarah getting to recreate this role too. I mean, talk about like something that feels impossible. That the lead and off. I mean, honestly, the only time I can think of the person who originated a role off Broadway getting to do the film that comes off the top of my head is Ellen Greene in Little Shop of Horrors, if any of you are familiar with that musical. Well, and Joel Brooke, but off Broadway, like entirely
off Broadway, yeah.
Anyway, but Sarah has that magic quality, and all three of them do in their own different ways. You know, Austin's incredible in that there's no self-pity, as he's this kid trying to get a gay straight alliance started in his high school, and just, you know, I'm interested in these characters that just push through their pain, because I think that's what we do in life. We, you know, and try and find some laughs, some love, some, you know, I mean, there's not a false note in Liam, so.
Oh,
you know, he's not your typical nerd, but then, you know, I was just gonna say, Sarah has the ability to, she plays this character who, you know, was Sister Berta in The Sound of Music. She was the fog machine operator in Oklahoma for the Dream Ballet. She was an extra in The Crucible. She called herself Goody Goodyear. And so by the time she gets to take the stage in her own unique way, and she strips down to a body stocking with these two, and dances to George Michael's Freedom, for reasons that make a little bit more sense if you watch the film. You really need three actors who can find the truth of that. You know, all comedy, even when it gets zany, it likes the truth, and that's where the real laughs lie. So I feel like these three have that in spades.
Liam, you're about to say something.
I was just for finding, you know, my truth in this whole movie. I think what I really love about it, and it's thanks to Steven, is that when they initially come together, it's a bit of kicking and screaming almost. Like everybody's a little bit uncomfortable, or at least my character is. And I think personally, I felt that inner gut feeling of, you know, I should see this through, and then what comes out of it is just, you get so much more back than you could have ever imagined. So I think it was, for my character, it was just this something deep inside you're not happy for the first, you know. And I think that's a way for a lot of people, you know. It's just like, don't quit unless you're certain that you want to quit. Just see it through, and you can be amazed, you know, what happens.
I think that's kind of why I initially gravitated towards the show, and I think a lot of us gravitate towards stories involving young people kind of getting together and overcoming stuff, because that is theater. That is a bunch of people getting together for some kind of greater good and creating something bigger than yourselves, which I think a lot of you guys can relate to. So on the theater thing, I realize as we're talking, it's kind of difficult to have to moderate a panel for a film that you have not seen. And I'm actually just curious, and don't be bashful, it's a few people because it was a while ago and it was off Broadway, but did anybody see the play Speech and Debate? Is there any? So there's a few of you, it's a small handful. Let's just make this fun, make this more delicious, to quote Sarah, to get people excited about this film. We were mentioning a little musical number that is, I'm glad to know that it made it into the film, which oddly enough has nothing to do, although quite an appropriate nod to the recent passing of the great George Michael. You guys got to sing and dance in a movie. I mean, that's so much fun. Talk about what it's like on set and getting ready for that, and, you know, having to choreograph a number. First of all, do we want to give away the context of what they're doing? I mean, without giving away too much, we mentioned a body stocking and George Michael. I mean, I'm in.
I think that's all you need to know.
That's all I gotta know.
Well, I think for me, initially, you know, every film is different in terms of how you're going to get along with everyone, and how, you know, if you're going to have that natural vibe on screen that you'd hope to have. And I think something that was very different about this for me was when we first arrived, and they used to do this a lot in film. I'm not sure if they do this so much nowadays. I'd never really experienced it before to this large of a degree. That we all met prior to filming. Was it a week?
I think we had like almost 2 weeks that we were that we got together to do these musical numbers.
Yeah, and so in the process of doing 2 weeks of musical numbers, we got to know each other really, really well. So I feel like it really must have, it helped with our chemistry on screen, and it felt like more like you said, like a play, like where you depend on each other. It felt more like a team than a job for me.
Yeah, it's very kind of vulnerable to have to just meet people and immediately dance.
Oh yeah, and it's also vulnerable to dance in a tight
body stocking,
nude body stock, like Sia style. Body stocking. I remember back before, in between takes, I still loved Sia, and I would just dance to Chandelier in that body stocking all the time.
I'm pretty sure they stole it from Speech and Debate.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Speech and Debate came first.
You're welcome, Sia. Yeah, that was it.
Now, Philippe, this was you. Do you have a theater background? Have you done theater, or have you ever done the song and dance thing before?
No. So yeah, that was.
So that's a hell of a way to break the ice.
You got really hurt from dancing, actually.
Oh,
your back
like emotionally, or
yes, no, both physically and emotionally. That dancing alongside these two, I was like, holy shit! Like I better practice in my room, like alone, because this is 2 weeks is not enough. And yeah, I think they just, well, I think we do carry the Wada through a little bit of the number. They really carried me through it, just. If it was me who had to be the leader of that, I don't think it would have turned out as amazing as it had. So it was fun.
But he
it's
is an amazing dancer now.
And
now,
yeah.
So this was like the first on-camera stuff I'd done, and I didn't really think about this, but when we did our big musical, we sang and then we all danced. They had this audience of extras, and they were reaction, and they were getting shots of the audience reacting to us dancing or whatever. And it was just people from the town that probably didn't really know much about the movie or what was going on. And so, when we're singing our song, I'm dressed up like Abraham Lincoln, and you're dressed up like Mary Warren, and we're singing on stage this song called "Hold It In." And
which was before Let It Go. It wasn't intentional.
Yes, long before. And we had it.
That didn't even.
Well, and
that's so funny. Everyone who does the play now is like, that's hilarious how you riff off of Let It Go.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like,
and we sang live for the movie, and so we had these earpieces in, and so there's just like these two random actors on this school stage dressed up like these random characters singing with no music. We can hear it in our ears, and the audience, and we're looking at the audience trying to, be in the moment, and the audience is just like, what the fuck is this movie?
This movie will never work.
Yeah. We were shooting in Jackson, Mississippi too, which was
key demo.
Yeah, and then bust out the bodysuits, and the audience was even more confused.
But these guys, that's where it was incredible to have. I mean, because these two they sing a duet between teenage Abraham Lincoln and Mary Warren, who time travels. It's a long story, but.
You'll find out.
But you guys had to do, I remember a lot of takes, well, not a lot, but they had to sing, a song in full belt time after time after time. And I remember the board members like Cal Penn and Wendy and Roger Bart, they didn't know what to expect either. So luckily they were on stage, it was really fun to see people, they were actually just giving a live show, which is, yeah, for you guys, actually, probably, it's in your wheelhouse.
I think we might have impassioned a few young baseball players, because they actually had a really great theater program at this school, but the Little League team showed up in the audience, and I think it was wasn't it just a local, so there might have been a few sports buffs there who were either like were like, yeah, no, I'm good, or they're probably like, oh yeah,
let's do this. Bodysuits.
I'll give a little bit of context to the songs that Stephen wrote the songs for the play, and all the songs in the play are in the movie, and it's written as as the voice of Dawada, who is writing, a high school student writing her own version of Crucible the musical based on Arthur Miller's The Crucible. And so all of these songs are from her character's head and perspective. And so Stephen wrote this other amazing song for the movie over the end credits that's also from Dawada's perspective of Crucible the musical, called Losers or Winners, Flying Free. And so,
yes, I was totally gonna. You totally.
These are the kinds of songs
what they're about.
Absolutely. So yes, having because this is BroadwayCon after all, might as well just take to the song. I want to take this moment to share a little special message that we have from a very special lady that we all love, and I think you guys love as well. Can we hit it?
Hi BroadwayCon, it's Kristen Shea. I'm so happy we're going to give you a little sneak peek of this movie's speech and debate that I was so lucky to be a part of. I hope you enjoy it. I know I did. It's definitely built for theater lovers like us, so have fun and be careful. God bless.
So, I don't know, who was that? Who was that? Is she from?
That's Idina Menzel.
That's Adele Dazeem. So Kristen, she recorded a song, Stephen, which you wrote.
Dawada wrote the song.
Dawada wrote the song through the vehicle.
Yes.
And so we'll hopefully move along because I want to get to the Q&A, but by the end of this discussion, we're going to debut that song for you guys here for the first time ever. It's never been played for anybody, not even me, so I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, so Stephen, I mean, like, a songwriter. Let's talk about that. Did you just like get your guitar out and just go, today's the day, I'm gonna win a Tony?
No, I mean, in some ways I was a kid, probably like a lot of people out here have done theater. I love musicals. The movie starts with Sarah's character in a homemade Miss Saigon t-shirt, and it was one of the first musicals I'd seen. So essentially I love musical theater, and the kind of music that I'm capable of writing. It was very easy for me to get into the head of a 17-year-old girl living in a small town in Oregon, because I very much was that kid at his Casio keyboard in Scranton, Pennsylvania, dreaming about musicals and thinking about songs. So in that way, that's probably where my limits end as a composer. But yeah, I've always loved music.
I don't think so. I think Stephen is a lovely songwriter.
They're amazing songs. They are. He's downplaying it.
I'm getting this thing here that says that you're taking questions on Twitter. Should I have people send questions to you now while I get questions from the audience?
Sure.
So just if you're interested, guys, that over there, Mr. Tom Rice of Sycamore Pictures, his Twitter handle is @TheRealTomRice.
Which I know is a stupid Twitter name, but it was either that or like 7 numbers after.
Yeah, not the fake Tom Rice. The real Tom Rice. Rice is in the yummy food that you can put in your tummy. So if you want to tweet questions to him while we, I think, because we got a good like 10 or 8 something minutes left, if we can take some questions from the audience, I think that would be awesome. And then we're going to plug the shit out of this, and you guys got to go see the movie and tell your friends when it comes out. But yeah, should we just take it over with the Q&A? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Myra, and I saw the Off-Broadway play production. So my question is, how did you, the play had, I believe, 4 or 5 actors at the time, and how did you open it up to this whole community, to a whole film filled with people?
Well, in some ways, Tom's kind of given this away already. The adult community, actually, which is very much off stage in the off-Broadway play, is opened up via the idea of both the parents of these guys and the school board. So in the play, you learn about these decisions about Once Upon a Mattress. You know, the character Lady Larkin, who's pregnant out of wedlock, you know, there are changes made so that instead of she's not pregnant anymore, she just really, really wants to get married. So you sort of see the people behind the scenes responsible for these ideas. So really, strangely, the adult community, which is still the B story in the movie, it becomes an actual, tangible thing.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
It's Heather Chandler.
Oh yeah, Heather Chandler's here. I was gonna ask, what did you find was the hardest part to interpret in each of your characters?
Dancing.
But you're Pop and Lock, man.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And so you've seen my dancing skills. I'll think of a better answer, but yeah.
I feel like it was important to not, and I feel like watching the movie we all achieved this. I'm very proud of this, but I feel like we didn't want to go into it being a stereotype. You know, we actually real kids, real characters, like my character wasn't just, you know, a gay character. It was a character. It was just a guy. And same with Solomon and Dewada. We were real teenage kids, and I think we achieved that. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was a little bit worried going into the film to be really careful that I wasn't sort of like looking back at being in high school, since I was 26 when we filmed it. But in that way, it was actually really helpful to live for that time in Mississippi and hang out with two guys who are much younger than I am. I feel like I sort of reverted back to being about like 19 or something. So that was a challenge for me, but worked out well, I think.
Right. Thank you so much.
Here's a good Twitter question that could be
go for it.
that we can go here. What makes you so real and never fake? Like, what do you do? What do you do to stay?
Well, you know what? Honestly, that's one of the reasons that I love so much working with Steven, is that he has so much. He writes with such specificity that if you really just kind of let what he writes live, and don't sort of put a spin on it, you will come off as real. It's sort of hard not to with his writing, because his writing is so truthful.
Yeah, that's it.
I think we have time for maybe just two. I'm so sorry, guys. Two maxes. We want to be able to play this song. So I'd say just two more. So yeah, step right on.
Hi, my name is Maria Elena, and my question is for Austin, actually. So you mentioned that you were doing Spring Awakening at the same time. Did you bring any inspiration from that character to your character in the movie?
That's oh God. You know, I think that in a way, actually, I think so, yes, because at the time, right when I got to Mississippi was when we got the email from our producer saying the show's going to Broadway, and I think I was in Mississippi for maybe a month and a half, and towards the end of that month and a half, I wasn't sure if they were gonna take me to Broadway, which would have, of course, like been heartbreaking. And so I was going through, you know, the feelings of all right, I need to focus on this job, but also like, am I gonna be on Broadway? And it wasn't until maybe 7 days before we finished shooting that they told me, they sent me the contract and I was going to Broadway. And so I think in turn a lot of my stress and I guess worry about that kind of transferred into this character who felt rejected from the world he was living in. I feel like, yeah, so indirectly, yes, so it's kind of sad, but yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
So there's a whole bunch of very similar versions of this question on Twitter. I'm going to start off with one good question here. I mean, one very relevant question here. They're all good questions. What is the film's rating, and is it appropriate for middle school? The film is rated PG-13, and that is one of the things that took a lot of very delicate surgical of translating a play into a film. Is like, how do you stay true to that play and still make it accessible? Because the movie, very similar to the play, is a love letter to middle school drama nerds, music theater nerds of all ages, like us, all of us, those of us that are adults. You can go to YouTube and Google Stephen Karam and Miss Saigon and see one of the best duets you'll ever see.
Don't do that.
But do it. You should totally do that. It's amazing. And it's endearing, it's wonderful. But it's a movie for people of all ages, but it is definitely a love letter specifically for, you know, middle school, high school, college-age kids that relate to this material and relate to wanting to find your voice and wanting to fit in. So we took very careful measures to keep the integrity of the play and make sure it didn't get more than a PG-13 rating. And then the other question on Twitter, aside from all the comments of "I love you, Darren" in all caps many times, is
those were from me.
So that's,
we should also
that's
make sure we have enough time to play this
my
song.
Twitter. I've been on Twitter for a week now, and my whole wall is just gonna be all these all caps of "I love you, Darren."
Yeah, it's just me.
Is what was your favorite part about filming the movie? And we have about 1 minute before we have to start.
The song, the tune.
Yeah.
Speed round, go.
Meeting Austin and Sarah for me was my favorite part.
Not Stephen though.
Well, no, everyone, but just I think just that like getting to dance together, and it brings a special bond that that I wish Stephen had been in more of the rehearsals for, and Tom, you too. We could have all been in there dancing more, but no, I think it was just a special bond for me that I really appreciated.
Yeah, we have like, I guess like 10 seconds or something. For those of you know, we have like a timer right here that tells us when we have to get off the stage. It's very scary. I don't know if this is my favorite, but the first thing I thought of was the people that played the adults or parents were like amazing comedians, like these really successful actors, and have been in like Bridesmaids and Harold and Kumar, and just these really funny people. I loved working with them and laughing at the things they said. The person that played my mom, she was in Bridesmaids. She was in one of the scenes, she was like, just randomly said, "I'm gonna shove a fig Newton in your mouth if you don't start eating food," because I was very skinny at the time. That was a good moment.
Speed round. Well, okay. So I will say, just to leave the folks knowing what's going on. Tom, really quickly tell them what the hashtags are, where they can see this film, how we can get people in the theaters, how you guys can tell your friends and share stuff.
Okay. So the hashtag is Speech Debate Film. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they have all those channels set up. I think it's Speech Debate Film, and maybe on Twitter it's Speech Film. So just follow us. We're going to be releasing a whole bunch of stuff, or the marketing team. There's a lot of fun behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of fun gag reels. They're going to be building up the groundswell, because we need your help. This is an independent film and an independent release, and we made this film for everyone in this room, and so we ask you to help us spread it on social media. Get all your friends interested in watching it. It opens in theaters and on iTunes and VOD and everywhere April the 7th. But on April the 2nd, we're doing a very special premiere that we're going to have kind of like a virtual premiere where anybody in America can attend the red carpet through Facebook. iTunes is going to let the film be available that day, 5 days early, so you can watch the premiere with us from the comfort of your own home. You can join us at the after party, all, the kids of School of Rock interviewing the cast and Facebook, all that fun stuff, so we can really invite everybody to attend the premiere, and that's going to be April the 2nd, and it's going to be supported by the Roundabout. We're going to be doing it live from the American Airlines Theater on Broadway, which we just found out about, which is going to be a really big deal for us.
So guys, we're going to leave you with this song. Thank you so much for coming to this panel, and we're just going to say, hopefully we'll see you at the movie. Take it away, Kristen.
Thank you guys.
So this next song is written by one of my super fans. Her name is Dewada Jones. I thought I'd sing it and send some love back her way, since she loves everything I post on Twitter. Here we go. Boys don't seem to like me for who I am. I'm not good at romancing. Others please the men by acting like they're witches and doing naked forest dancing. I know a girl who's good at singing.